And welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I've been interested in ways to assess and improve the quality of software containing systems and products for many years. And in that time, I've learned several immutable facts, cosmic truths about various aspects of software quality. I'd like to share 10 of these truths with you today, and I suspect some of them will resonate with your personal experiences as well. The first thing I realized is that quality covers a very wide range of possibilities. Quality means different things to different people, different things in different contexts. It's not one thing. People have, for many years, tried to drill down and reduce what is software quality to some concise statement, and I've never seen one that I found very compelling. And I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can come up with a single compact sentence that says, oh, this is what quality is and what it isn't. So that's the first message, is that quality really has many dimensions. And you need to understand on each project what aspects of quality are important to your customers and other stakeholders. It's also important to determine who decides what aspects of quality are important to the success of the project. And you very well might have conflicts. You might have different stakeholders who perceive different aspects of quality as being important. For example, some applications have life-critical quality needs. Others are far less vital, and certain business drivers other than absolute quality in terms of never failing might be more important to the business success. So that's an important message. The quality needs to be defined with respect to the business objectives for the project, not in some absolute terms. So the quality profile for your product, whatever it happens to be, whether it's an information system for internal use within your company, something that will be embedded in another product, or an app that you're creating for the universe as a whole, that quality profile depends on the nature of the product and its target market or audience. So for example, customers who buy leading-edge products, the early adopter types, they're interested in novel features, glitzy graphics, and they want it now. They're the people who want to be in the Google Glass trial and that sort of thing. They're willing to live with the occasional bug, so the traditional definition of quality as the absence of defects may not be as important to them as some really novel features that nothing else has. On the other hand, mainstream consumers of software products are often far more interested in reliability and usability. They don't have much tolerance for defects. They don't care about learning curves. They're not interested in learning curves. They want to be able to get in and use the thing as quickly as they can. They don't really care about tons of features that they aren't ever going to use. So this is the first message, that quality means many things in different contexts and to different people. So let's see if we can move. So let's see what some of these dimensions of quality might be. And I think each software team should spend some time discussing for their project, what does quality mean to them, and in particular, what does quality mean to their stakeholders. It doesn't matter so much what conclusions the team comes to, but this activity of even putting it out on the table and talking about it gets team members to explore their values with respect to quality and the success objectives for the project. So here are some of the dimensions of quality that you might hear people mention. And one obvious one is the absence of defects. It's pretty apparent that if you're using a piece of software and you just want it to be well behaved, but it's not, if it crashes on you or doesn't let you do things that it claims it's going to do, you're going to be unhappy and you're going to interpret that as poor quality. Unless, of course, you're in this early adopter group where you just say, oh, well, okay, they'll fix it eventually. But for most of us in mainstream applications, we don't like defects. Obviously, functionality is important. And in fact, related to that, one traditional definition of quality is conformance to specifications, where a deviation from specifications means poor quality. Conformance to specifications is good quality, kind of in a traditional sense. But what if your specifications are wrong or incomplete? Then precisely satisfying that specification does not, in fact, necessarily deliver a quality product. So another aspect of functionality that could be not really good indication of quality is buying a product that has a lot of functionality that you aren't going to use, or really maybe no one is going to use. And so that doesn't impress me very much. I've got applications that are so feature-rich that it's just overwhelming, and the fact that there's a bunch of stuff there I'm not interested in doesn't mean quality to me. It might actually mean that People took more time building something than they needed to, or more attention was paid to features than to making those features work correctly. But in general, I think we can agree that having the right set of functionality that allows users to accomplish the tasks they need to with the product is a pretty important dimension of a high-quality product. Usability is very important for many systems. You need to be able to understand it relatively quickly. There's two dimensions to usability, in fact, both ease of learning, something you haven't seen before or only use occasionally, and ease of use, something where you're very familiar with it, you use it a lot, and you're interested in pure productivity. And this is a case where people have to make trade-off decisions, and that comes up a lot when we're talking about quality, is the fact that you cannot simultaneously optimize all of these characteristics. So we have to make decisions to understand our user environments and their expectations so that we can balance, say, ease of learning for maybe a walk-up kiosk that any random person might use once or twice a year versus a desktop application in a business that people are going to be using pretty much throughout the day. So that's another dimension. Performance is something we perceive as quality. You can have an application that does exactly what it's supposed to do and does it well, but if it does it more slowly than you either expect or need, then that performance degradation or shortfall is going to strike you as a poor quality issue. Timeliness of delivery is also a possible dimension of quality. Maybe we've got all these other things. The software doesn't have any bugs, has the functionality that we need, I can understand how to use it, it responds quickly, but I get it delivered to my hands much later than I was expecting to, and that has some negative impact on my business. Now, I've seen people play some games balancing these things around. I did some work for the state government agency some years ago, and in this state, their funding for departments and hence for projects was on a biennial basis. So all of your funding came along at July 1st of every year. You got your money, and on June 30th, 2 years later, all that money was gone. And these people told me that one of the games they played in that organization was that every project delivered on time. Okay, when that June 30th rolled around, or maybe even earlier, every project was declared to be done, but the way they accomplished that was by dropping out a lot of functionality or leaving in a lot of defects that they knew about or not meeting performance expectations. So what they delivered was on time, but it was crippleware that was of no value to anyone. And what they did is to wait for the next budget cycle to come around. They'd get more money so they could go back and finish and fix the software that they'd built so far. So is that really quality? No, that's called lying. It's just a silly game that people were playing because of the politics and the culture of that organization. Not a very healthy approach. Compatibility is another dimension of quality. Compatibility might relate to the use of standard data interfaces, proprietary architectures, and data formats that are going to allow you to integrate one application with another or readily export files in a format that other applications can import and so forth. So that's another dimension. And one concise definition that I have seen is that quality is value to a stakeholder. So that's one of those attempts to try to boil this all down to a very simple, concise statement. And yeah, okay, I can see that that's an interpretation of quality, but we have to drill down into that a little bit more and understand, okay, what kinds of value are we talking about? And these things in the circle around that are part of what constitutes potential value that some stakeholder might perceive. So if your team spends some time talking about what quality means to them and to their stakeholders, then as questions arise during the course of the project about what way to go and what to emphasize and what to trade off, the team can use that shared view of quality to help make those decisions. And in fact, if their definition of quality for the project doesn't help